afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third session of Building Healthy, Strong Communities. Before we begin, I want to go over a few housekeeping notes. If you wish to receive CEs for today's webinar, you will need to stay for the duration of the event and respond to all the poll questions you see pop up throughout the presentation. You will see the first poll now. And the poll question for everyone is, who is in attendance today? Your options are A, alumni, B, SSW faculty and staff, C, student, MSW or PhD, or D, other. Please tell us in the chat. If you are unable to respond to the poll question in the poll, please put your response to that in the chat. There will be time for Q&A throughout today's presentation. If you have questions, please put them in the chat or in the Q&A box. We encourage participation in the chat throughout today's presentation. I'm now going to turn it over to Joe Yaffe, the Secretary of the School of Social Work Alumni Board, to introduce today's presenters.
Hi, and welcome everybody. I wanted to introduce our two presenters. The first one is Zia Chi. Zia is a research technology specialist at the University of Michigan School of Social Work Data Lab, who combines AI, data science, and natural language processing to improve child welfare and juvenile justice systems. As lead developer of the Michigan Juvenile Dashboard and a Tableau desktop specialist, she builds custom applications and comprehensive data pipelines. Specializing in web scraping, unstructured text analysis, and automated data collection across diverse sources. She provides technical consultation on projects serving vulnerable youth populations, focusing on extracting actionable insights from complex data sets through advanced analytics and AI-driven text mining. And I wanted to point out that she's a 2024 graduate of the MSW program. So she's an alum. Brian Perrin is professor of University of Michigan School of Social Work, and his recent work focuses on helping community-based organizations use data to improve service delivery and other business processes. This includes developing user-friendly and sustainable data management systems, creating interactive data visualizations to facilitate the interpretation of data, and especially for non-technical users, and building organizational capacity to promote data-driven decision-making. Perrin helped establish and works actively with the Child and Adolescent Data Lab, where he examines services for vulnerable youth and families in the child welfare system with the ultimate goal of improving service outcomes. His research has been supported by the National Institutes of Health, Department of Veterans Affairs, and the state of Michigan. Perrin is also interested in the role, application, and ethical use of artificial intelligence in social work and how tools like machine learning and natural language processing can be leveraged to improve our knowledge. Perrin is passionate about teaching students about research and data analysis, with special interest in helping students who don't have a strong math background. He also has considerable experience in teaching both the diagnosis and treatment of mental health and substance use disorders. In addition to his research, service, and teaching activities, Perrin regularly participates as a student in massive open online courses, MOOCs, to ensure his skills and knowledge are current with the rapid developments of technology. So thanks, Dr. Perrin and Zia, for joining us today. And I'm really looking forward to an interesting and informative presentation.
Okay, I guess this is where I'm going to take over the screen sharing and jump right into this presentation. You'll have to have a little bit of patience with us because we've got a lot of demonstrations going on through this. We're going to be passing it back and forth. So in my view, I don't see the Zoom interface right now, so I can just do my best at the moment. So So hopefully you see my screen here. Zia, can you give me just confirmation that you could see my slide?
No, I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, you're not seeing anything? Okay, let me try again. Okay, share. Okay, and I'll switch over. Okay, you're seeing my screen here. I'll go to, okay, now you are. Okay, so, all right, great. Okay, so it's the Kleenex effect. And so the reason I want to raise this is as the sort of the title is that I hear so many times everybody just talking about everything is just ChatGPT. It's sort of like Kleenex. There's lots of different brands that's available, but everybody just seems to be talking about ChatGPT. So we want to expand the horizons on this. For this. So it's not just something that when we're talking about AI, that it's not all just Chat GPT. So we're going to broaden your horizons and understanding of a lot of different tools because there's so many different things that are available to you that I think are going to be useful. So here are the things that we're going to do. I'm going to give you some background about our work. We're going to talk about some tools and strategies and then some Q&A. So along the way, make sure you drop in questions. We'll do the best that we can to be addressing the chat, but we can also follow up afterwards. And definitely put in questions or comments if we're going too fast. I've been up since 4 a.m. drinking coffee. If you've been in my class, you know I talk very fast and talk a lot, so I'll do my best. And don't worry, I'm going to give Zia plenty of time. I'm just to also talk. I'm just going to get things set up for what we're going to be covering today. So just briefly about us and the work that we're doing. Most of our work is in the space of child welfare. So we do system level monitoring with the state of Michigan. We get the state's data, we help them understand it, we enrich it through different AI tools and provide technical support. We also do this with the juvenile justice system. And so Zia is managing these dashboard projects and also building tools for collecting and reporting data. And then I work closely with Zia. We do a lot of data consulting. So in this talk, we're going to be talking a lot about like automated reporting. So what we try to create systems and processes where people don't have to do these repetitive tasks that so we're talking about graduates of the MSW program, you probably encounter a lot of work in your day-to-day work that doesn't require a master's degree because you're shuffling papers around or inputting data over and over. So we try to build systems that really reduce these repetitive tasks that don't require a master's degree that allow you to focus on your own expertise. And we do that with AI strategies. We really focus on eco-friendly AI systems. So building and using local AI models that are secure and take only a fraction of the environmental resources that might be compared to, say, like ChatGPT, these massive data centers. But we'll talk about both. We'll talk about a variety of different models, but this is our specialization. So here's a few disclaimers that I'll make right at the beginning is we're really focused on administrative workflows. So we're not developing client-facing interventions. So that's not what we do. So a lot of our work is things that we can directly monitor the AI usage, and it's done in a safe way that if there's, if we're using AI, that we can evaluate it and we can roll back any sort of changes if the AI isn't operating exactly how we want. This presentation we do have some expectation that you have some knowledge of the AI tools, and a lot of this is the AI, the effectiveness is based on writing effective prompts. So we created a short guide that they'll be available to you on prompt writing. And so we're going to just highlight some different tools. This isn't going to be a full demonstration, but everything that we cover, there's YouTube videos. Like there's people that are making YouTube videos on all of this. So just some basic Googling can get you the information that you might need. But we are providing the handout of the slides and links as we're going. So Okay, so now we're going to get into all this AI discussion. So we got the first poll. Madison, are you going to cue that up for us?
It should be up, Brian.
All right. Yep, I see it. Thank you. All right. So we're just getting an assessment of where people are and their skills and knowledge, just so we can get an idea of where to scale this discussion. So we'll let this go. I think we said about for 45 seconds. So we will end the poll shortly, but right now it's looking like most people are a complete novice or a beginner, with making up around 70–80% as the numbers are coming in, with about a quarter of people feeling comfortable, but not many people in the proficient space. But no worries, everybody's on an initial learning journey, so that's not a problem at all. So I'll go ahead and end this
Those
poll.
of you that can't see the polls, the question is, how would you describe your comfort level using generative AI tools? Your options are complete novice, beginner, comfortable, proficient, or expert.
All right. Thanks for saying that. I'm going to end the poll now and I'll share the results. I think that you could see them. So most people, the largest group is the complete novice. So hopefully we're going to give you some things that are going to be useful for you today. So let's move forward. And okay, so the first one is deep research. So all of the AI systems that we're working with have what is called like foundation knowledge. That means that they've been trained on the internet data and they've got this information baked into the model itself. Well, with over the past year, there's been a major development in these tools. They can do research now on the internet. So this isn't part of their foundation knowledge, that they now have tools that can go out and do some searches. And so I'm going to bring up for you a very useful tool, and this is Google Gemini. And the other tools also have this available, that ChatGPT does in its premium version, Claude does in its premium version. So some of them, Grok 3 is another tool that's going to be listed in the handout. That does deep research too. But this is the deep research by Gemini. And if you go to deep research with Pro, it will also have it with the Flash, the experimental. But this is very useful for having somebody conduct, having the AI systems conduct the research for you. So I'm going to grab this prompt here that I've got already written, and I'm going to put this into here. And so what this is going to do is going to go out and do this research for me. And so I'm saying I want research, carefully research the area of Ann Arbor, Michigan for community research resources to support adolescents with mental health conditions. And so I want a table of results with a description of the providers. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. And this is using the deep research tool. And so it's taking my prompt and it's building out its own search query that it's going to implement. And so it's going to take a moment to get this going. And so it's saying, this is what it's going to do for me. And it's going to research all these websites, going to analyze the results, and it's going to create a report. But I got to wait. So I'm going to start this research, and it's going to take a little bit of time. We're not going to watch it, but while we're waiting, I'm going to hand it over to Zia, and then we're going to come back to this. So this is the first example, but it's going to take a while to run. So Zia, this is all you now. So I'm going to let you go over to the second demonstration, which is going to be your email and calendar assistant. So this is going to be Zia's demonstration, and we're going to come back to this next one in just a moment. So Zia, it's all you.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Zia Chi. Thank you so much for the introduction from Joe and Brian. And today I'm going to show you an email and calendar assistant provided by Claude, which is a large language model developed by a company called Anthropic. And I'm going to do the demonstration on Claude Desktop. Claude also provided the web page version, but you can also download their application. It's easier, a bit more easier to use. So this is the interface of Claude Desktop. And from here, this is a button.
Zia, I'm not seeing your Claude desktop.
Let me see if I'm sharing the wrong screen.
Ryan and Zia, I'm just going to jump in really fast. Can you make sure your presentations are in full screen and zoomed in if possible? Thank you.
Yeah, we'll do that to the extent possible. Some of these applications won't allow us to do that. So the participant should also make sure that they have their screens enlarged too.
Can you see the Claude Desktop on
Yep.
mine?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So this is the interface of the Claude Desktop. And here's a button. It has a drop-down menu. It has the web search, which is something that Brian just demonstrated. Almost every major AI assistant provided this function. And here are the Drive search, Gmail search, and calendar search. So basically, if you toggle to turn them on, you can connect your Gmail Google account with the cloud, and cloud will get access to your Gmail calendars and files on Google Drive. So you can interact and explore the files using Claude. So here, I'm going to address a problem using Claude because I have, as a data analyst, I have so many tasks, works, and email communications from a lot of people. So I find it difficult to track the progress of individual project. So now I'm going to use Claude to help me find. First, I'm going to let Claude to tell me how many meetings do I have this week, so I can check if there's any schedule conflicts. So, there's a internet connection issue. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to tell Claude how many meetings do I have this week?
So Zia, are you connecting this to your calendar right now, just for
Yes.
context? Okay.
Yes, just to clarify, I have already connected.
Yep. Yeah, so this is a way that that you could just ask your AI tool to do work for you. So it's like, you want to connect to your calendar, what do you have in there? You want to connect your email, what do you have in there? So you're able to do this more in natural language.
Yes, all by communicating, all by text. And then I wanted to see, oh, it seems I have a meeting with Jason, so I wanted to see what are the recent email communications with Jason, because I can't recall our last conversation. So I'm asking Claude to do this search for me.
And so one of the questions that was raised is, what do these systems cost? And so I will say that Claude is one of my favorite systems. I pay $20 a month for this, and it saves me so much time. And so I do use this integration that Zia is showing right now, and there's many other things you can do. So this is just like one function, one system of functionality that's here. So, okay, go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
So Claude gave me all the recent communications with Jason, so I'm able to recall our last conversation. And then I wanted to ask Claude to help me prepare for my next meeting with Jason based on our communications. My next meeting with Jason based on email communications and see what Claude can help me. Okay. So it gives me all the informations and agenda, and it also traces back to find all the related progress on our project and the items we talked about. And it also gives me some suggestions, what I should be looking at. So this is something I use very much for my day-to-day work, because if you have so many emails, sometimes it's just hard to find the correct information right away. So this is an example with Gmail and Google Calendar. Right? Do you get the results back, Brian?
I'm going over there right now. So, okay. So, Zia, if you're done with that one, I will go back over to my screen. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So I'm going to share my screen. And so this is the work that Gemini Advanced has been doing. So these are the websites that it's been searching for. Look at all these websites. So you can see Washtenaw, we can see Michigan Medicine.
Sorry, Brian, I'm not seeing your screen.
Why not? You're sharing.
Brian, I can see your screen.
Okay, Zia, I think it's a setting on your end. You've got a screen sharing toggle. So, okay, but everybody else is seeing my screen? Okay, let me refresh this. Okay, so it's still doing the research. So it's researching 75 websites. So my system, so it's still not done. We're going to have to come back to this, but it's taking a long time, but this is actually really good because I wanted something comprehensive. So it's doing a lot of deep research on this. But right now I'm going to quickly switch over and just go to Grok, because this also has a free opportunity using Grok 3, and you could do the deep research on this too. You don't get to do it you don't get to use it over and over and over for free, but you do get some free daily usages of this. And so I could actually just take the same prompt here. If somebody wanted to use a different system, I could do the exact same thing into Grok. And I'm going to click on the deep research here and run that. And so we can get some comparisons, but I'm going to, so we'll still have to come back here and view that site. And so you can see Grok is doing the same thing. So these take a while, but the results are worth it. So let's come back here. So I'm going to show you the third tool. Is Notebook LM. This is free. This is one of my favorite tools, especially for learning new things. U of M is on the Google platform, but your UMich Google account will not work for this. So when you try to use this, you're going to come up to a page saying it's not accessible. You have to use your personal Gmail account for this. The U of M side didn't turn it on. So when you go to Notebook LM, this is what it's going to look like, is the landing page. This is free, but I'm going to go to, you can create a new notebook here. And you could add sources, and you could add things from your Google Drive. You could add web links. You could paste text into it. You could drop PDFs into it. It's super easy. I'm going to just give you one demonstration of something that we've created where I've dropped in just a single PDF. And what I've done is I've dropped in a PDF that is authored by Zia and myself on the cultural context of AI. It's a study that we recently did that's going to be coming out. So I took that and I just dropped it right into my notebook here. And let me move my screen control. And there's a few things that's very interesting. So I could add more sources, but this is just one. And so this has given me a summary of it, but there's a lot of really cool features of it. One is that it will create a podcast for you. So it's going to take take the full article, and the full article is very technical and difficult to understand. So this is a great system where you can talk with your documents. And so let's just give an example right now. It's like, give me a summary of the study. And so it's going to obviously give a summary of this study, but let's let it just work for a little bit. And again, this is a completely free system, and this is and so this operates just entirely on that document. So this gives a nice summary, but this is what I really love is the audio overview. And so I've created the audio overview here. And
I think everywhere you look these days, AI is popping up in some new professional field.
It is.
You know, it's in medicine, law, you know, even creative fields. But have you ever like thought about how AI would work in a field that's all about like human connection,
Oh, interesting.
like social work?
You know, that's a great point. Social work's so deeply human, right? It's about understanding different cultures and navigating these really complicated.
Okay, I'm going to pause it here. I'm going to jump forward because it's going to talk about the study itself. So I'm just going to move it forward a little bit.
It's basically meant to be like the real deal, you know, like a real exam.
Like pressure's on.
Yeah, pressure's on. The models had to answer every question, even if they weren't sure, just like you'd have to do in a real exam. And they also had to explain why they chose that answer.
Okay, so show your work, basically.
Show your work, exactly.
Okay, and another feature of this that I want to highlight is it goes into an interactive mode where you can just go into the interactive mode and you can have a conversation about with the presenters about whatever is in your knowledge base. So whatever you've uploaded here. So just to give you an example here.
And the goal was
It seems like everywhere you look these days, AI.
oh, hey, I think our listeners got something to say.
Okay, what are the models they used to test in this study? I didn't catch that.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really important detail.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So they looked at 8 different large language models in total.
A good mix, as we were saying.
Exactly. On the Chinese side, they used Ernie, Qwen, DeepSeek, and Moonshot.
Those are kind of the big players in Chinese AI.
Right. And then on the Western side, they tested Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, and Mistral.
The ones we hear about quite a bit.
Yes, exactly.
Oh yeah, go on.
All right, just give me a very short summary of what they found in this study. Don't go into detail.
Absolutely. What's fascinating here is that they found that these AI models could pass a basic licensing exam for social work in China.
Okay, let's unpack this. So they showed some confidence, but there were definitely differences between the models.
Right. The Chinese models did better. Oh, go for it.
And did they find any evidence of bias in these models? We're really interested in bias in social work.
That's a really crucial question. Yes, they absolutely did find evidence of bias.
What's fascinating here is that even with clear.
Okay, so I'm not going to continue going on about all this stuff, but the idea is that if you want to learn something or you've got something really complex, you could drop it right into here into a notebook. And I've got lots of things, and you could output in Chinese, you could output in any language now, which is really amazing. So if English is not your first language or you want to create resources, so I do this with very technical stuff, but I even did stuff with like legal documents, like the House Committee report on Matt Gates. I won't explain why I did that, but I mean, I wanted to get some
Brian,
information.
is it possible to expand your screen within the screen? Like
Uh,
make that full size?
um,
Yes, that's
Okay.
exactly it. Thank you.
Okay, yep. So I've got a lot of different things here. So anything that's technical, I'll drop in here. But Notebook LM is definitely one of my top tools that I use all the time. So, all right, I'll let you take it over, Zia.
Okay, so next part, I will be showing you, actually it's something similar to what Brian just demonstrated, but the Notebook LM has so many features that it's good to explore some new concepts or new books. But if you want something really straightforward, for example, if I have a policy guideline or documentation which has 50 pages, but I don't actually have time to dig into it, and I just want some key informations. So here's what Claude can help you. I have some documents I downloaded from the website. This is I didn't really read it. It's about maltreatment in care processes published by MediaHHS, it seems. And then I'm going to feed this document to Claude and use it to help me understand the information. So I'm going to ask, what is this document about, and summarize the content for me. Okay, so you can see Claude read the so many pages document very, very fast within 1 second. It gives me the highlights, the key components, and you can also ask a lot of follow-up questions. You can also ask it to cite the original language for you, so you can check back to verify the accuracy of the response. For example, I can let it tell me the process of face-to-face interview, and cite the number, the page number of the document. See what I get. So it tells me what's the requirements for face-to-face interview based on the guideline, and it appears on page 12, page 14, page 15, page 18. So I can easily trace back to the information. We can quickly verify page 14. Let's see. Let's mention the, this is number 2 or okay, this is page 14, face-to-face contact. Perfect, it's very accurate. So if you wanted to explore guidelines or documentation that has so many pages, you don't really have time to dig into, then Claude is gonna be very helpful for you. And any AI assistant platforms, as long as it has the upload file capacities, they can all do this type of thing. And here are also some example prompts that you can use. For example, if you have a policy about program eligibility, you can ask, based on this policy, would a single parent with 2 children earning 24,000 qualify for this program, or what documentation is required for emergency housing? So it's just very helpful for processing informations and save your time for day-to-day work. Yep. And actually, my next example is related to this one. Brian, would you mind me to just keep going and show my next example?
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay. And my next example would be the language assistant. So we are still going to use the same example, the policy documentation. And because large language models are so good at understanding human languages and so many different languages, so it can be very helpful for translating and creating the summarized files for you. So for example, based on that file, I can ask it to create a handout explaining the intake process in simple term according to the document and translate into I only read Chinese except English, so I will ask it to translate to Chinese so I can verify it. And a small tip for prompt engineering is that you want to give the large language model as specific the request as specific as possible, and give it more background so I understand what you are looking for. For example, I would like to add according to the document, so it won't go to the internet to find information for me. So here's material it created for me. What's this concept? What does it investigate? How does the process work? Who gets notified? So it's very easy to understand handout material. And this is the Chinese version. Wow, it's so good. So if I need a simple handout based on the policy, I can copy and paste and create the handout for the population I serve. So this is the capacity and the usage that you can do with large language model. All right, I'm done with my part.
Zia and Brian,
All right.
I'm going to jump in really quickly.
Sure.
It looks like based on the slides, we may have missed a couple of the polls. Do you mind if I go back through and launch those?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think, are we on poll 2?
Yes.
Okay, let's do that. I'm sorry, Madison. I just
Okay.
saw that coffee I've been drinking.
That's okay. So for those that can't see the poll, the question is approximately how much time do you spend using AI tools during a typical workday? Your options are none, less than 15 minutes, 15 to 30 minutes, 30 minutes to an hour, 1 to 2 hours, or more than 2 hours.
All right, that's a very interesting question. For the people that are responding, it would be great if you put in some of your examples of what you're using for in the chat. I'd be very interested in that, and I'll try to address some of these other questions that are coming up. But I do want to go back to what Zia was talking about with the prompting and prompt engineering. So prompt engineering sounds super complicated, but it's really about just learning strategies to write instructions to get the models to work in a specific way that you want. And prompt engineering is a very important skill. So if the models are not performing the way that you want them to on your different tasks, most likely, one of your results, it's going to be about developing those skills for that. So prompting skills is so important. Okay. I've got a few questions to address along the way, but let me just see where I am in this. Okay, so half the people don't use it at all, and so we've got a very low rate. My guess is that you may not just know about the different ways it can assist you in some of the work that you're doing. So I'm hoping that some of these different use cases can help expand your understanding. So I'm going to go back now to my screen, and we're going to see where along the way our mental health resources are. So I know that Grok is finished, but Gemini is actually a lot better. So Gemini is up to 142 websites right now. You can see my screen? Is that
Yes.
okay? Thanks, Theo. So it's so 142 websites being searched. So one of the questions is like environmental consequences of AI. It's a very important issue, but let's just think about it for a moment. Like, how long would it take you to review 140 websites, extract information, and get all of that information compiled? So sometimes AI is more environmentally conscious than our traditional ways of working. And this is going to be one example. But we'll wait until the report comes out from this before we actually assess that. Grok is another example of a deep research one. I don't think it's nearly as good as the Gemini deep research, but we could see here it's got some different resources. And so it's got the detailed provider information. And one of the questions that was raised in the chat was like, it's hallucinating and making up stuff. But that's true. It is at risk of hallucinating if you rely on its foundation knowledge. But when you use an AI system that's connected to the internet and it will go do research for you, then you could actually verify it. And so here it's providing some of the information. One of my things that I didn't do, actually, it did get some links here. So it can have the links that it's located. In this case, Grok didn't do like a really good job because it didn't do nearly as much research as Gemini did. So we'll come back to Gemini. Hopefully, it's done as we're during our presentation. But what I do want to show you is so we've got the results here that that Grok has provided, and so here are the different websites and the key citations, so we can go and verify each one of these that it's found for me. So when you're using deep research tools, and all of the systems now have deep research, and so so if you just use just a basic tool, it's not going to have it, but there's other tools so you actually have to look for it. So I'll give another example of another tool. DeepSeek is an example. It's a Chinese platform, but it's really one of the best that's available. And so this is another one where it has the search capability built into it. And so that's what you want to do is that's what's going to reduce hallucinations. You still, whenever you're using results from AI systems, you are responsible for checking the work. And so you have to fact check everything that you get from AI because you view it as your own personal assistant. So it can still hallucinate, but we're not of the position that we just simply hand off all of the work for AI to do. We want to use these tools and to provide and to help us do the work, but we are still responsible for it. All right, I'm going to just check one more time to see if my Gemini is done, but still not done, so we'll have to come back to it. But I'm really impressed of how extensive that is working right now. I'm going to come over to my results here. And what I want to do is I want to show another technique here as a strategy. So on my slides here, I accidentally deleted it, but I'm getting into it now. It's about structuring data. And so I'm going to show you how you take this unstructured data and to build some type of useful resource from it. So I'm going to take all of this information here. Actually, I see this is nice. So when you see this copy button here, this means I can just copy all of this information. But the idea here is that I've got all of these resources that are listed, but we might want to create like a database. We might want to get into like an Excel sheet or something, or to give us the structured information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over to Gemini and I'm going to do a new one, and I'm just going to use a much smaller model. And so 2.0 Flash, this should be available for free. And I'm going to use the canvas here, and I'm going to say review this. Let me enlarge this. Review this output and extract all the details and create a structured output that I can use in Excel. So let's just see how it does it. Well, I've got to get the actual output. I was waiting for the mental health resources from Gemini. Let me see if that's done, just because I really want to use that. It's still working, so we'll just use the Flash version. And let me give it some unstructured text here to show you. So the idea here is we want to be able to take unstructured text and get it into a structure that is useful. So I'm going to give it this information. So I'm going to copy this. And you could do this in just about any system you want. I want this. I want the organization name, a summary, and contact information. Okay, so I'm just telling it like a structure of information that I want, but you could structure anything that you want very easily. So you take a lot of this unstructured text and you say, put it into this structured format. And so now it's generating this work for me. This wasn't the ideal output that I want. I'm going to set the ideal output I wanted was from the Gemini one. So I'm going to come back to this one in just a moment, and I'll hand this back over to Zia. So I'll get my demonstration set up here about structuring the output. So Zia, I'm going to let you take over for this, and I will get this example set up.
While you both are working on that, there's a question in the chat that's come up a couple of times about
Okay.
privacy and security.
Yep.
But this particular one said, like, how concerned should people be about these companies having information about politics, finances, and health, especially in the current political climate?
Well, that's a complicated question, and that's almost an entire discussion that another webinar. So you have to be very cautious about providing sensitive data to these cloud-based models. So you have to look at their policies of this, but generally speaking, don't expose any sensitive data to the cloud-based providers. So things that we're describing here are safe. So Zia showed one where it's using Claude to connect to Gmail and to your calendar. And they have in their policies that that's a secure system. But I would never, ever submit any patient data or other personally identifying information to these cloud-based models. So what we're doing is we're just showing all of these models for being what is essentially publicly available data. So the security issues are still very significant. Okay. Zia, are you actually my part just got done, so I can show that part now, so you can be up next. So let me go back. Okay, so I'm still sharing. This is the results of the Google Gemini search for adolescent mental health resources. And so to look at this, this did really quite significant. It searched over 140 websites to create this report for me. And so I've got this report, and going back to the issue of you want to fact check it. So it's a great report, but you're going to want to make sure that it is accurate. So the report is quite long. I'm very impressed with this report that it has. And I can also export it to Google Docs right here. And so I could just click this button and it will take that entire report and we'll put it into a Google document for me. It takes a moment to do so. Additionally, remember the Notebook LM, I can generate an audio overview of that too. So as we're waiting, it's going to generate one of these podcasts for it. And so we have that. So we've got the report now that's in a Google document. We're creating an audio overview of this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of this stuff here. And now I'm going to come back and I'm going to use, actually in this case, I'm going to use Claude. I'll use a different system just because I show you that I switch between systems all the time because they've got different functionality. So I'm going to say is review this document in detail and extract all the resources from this into a structured table with the organization name, summary, and contact information. Okay, so I'll just drop this into Claude. So this is all the pasted content from the entire document, and we're just going to see how well this does. It'll take a moment because I did every single thing. Okay. So it's created a nice structured document for this. And it allows them to fact check it. So maybe I wanted to structure it different. So maybe I want like a table with a website link or something else. And so this allows you to create resources very easily. So Joe, you mentioned that you'd use this for like scoping reviews. You could easily extract information in a structured way by doing this just through a web interface here. So I'll come back to Gemini. So still generating my audio overview like we saw earlier in Notebook LM. We've got it in a Google Doc, and then we've got a table. And so we've got a lot of different things that we could do. And if I really wanted to, I could expand on Zia's demonstration and say, okay, now recreate this table of resources in the Vietnamese language. So we'll pick a different language here, the Vietnamese language, and we'll just see how that does. I don't speak Vietnamese. I don't think Zia does, but I'm going to guess that it's pretty good. So if there's any like languages that you need to create resources for people within your group, these are excellent ways of doing that. Okay, Zia, your turn. You could jump in.
All right. I'm going to share my screen first. And for the next part, I will introduce something called MCP server. I'm not going to read the concept, but by saying MCP server, you can think it's like the large language models, they can only talk to you, but they can't actually do anything for you. So for the cloud interface, it can only think and communicate with you. But if I wanted to create a document or write a file or something, it can't actually do that. So, but with MCP server, you actually give the model a hand or an arm or feet to actually perform the action and do the things for you. So, so the MCP server I'm going to use is called file system. Basically, it gives the AI access to your local file system. So the AI, if the AI if you ask the AI to create a file for you, it can actually do it. So what I'm going to demonstrate is I have this policy folder on my desktop. There are some guidelines about child welfare stuff in this folder. So I'm going to ask the AI model to do something for me. So I can ask, first I'm going to verify if they can really read this folder. So I can ask, how many files in the policy folder on my desktop? And oh, and by the way, the MCP server requires some extra setups, so it does take a bit more time to figure out. But there are a lot of YouTube videos and instructions on the website. So let's see. It said I'll help you find out how many files. So right now it's actually reading my computer. Let's give it 30 seconds and see. Well, it seems it's searching my entire computer because I give access to the entire computer. I'm gonna be more specific. This is something about prompt engineering because if because I could be more specific on my desktop. I'll give it a pass on my desktop. So now it's actually, it should be looking at my desktop. Okay. Now it said I found 2 files in the policy folder on your desktop, and 1 and 2. There's also a subfolder called final 3 something. Okay. And then I wanted to reorganize my files. So for example, I can say move the files in the subfolder to the main policy folder. I just fed the instruction to the model, and I'm opening the folder here. So I'm hands-free, I'm not doing anything. So you can see the model is actually doing all the file reorganizing for me. Let's see. We can give it a couple of more seconds. All right, it seems it's done. You can see all the files. Let's verify. Okay, here's nothing. The subfolder is empty and all the files is in the main folder now. It said I've successfully moved all the 7 files to the main folder, so that's good. And with the MCP file system, you can also do things like rename files for me or find a specific file for me. And now I wanted to understand how do I calculate permanency in 12 months using the guidelines. So I'm going to ask Claude to find the information for me. I would say based on the documents, how do I calculate permanency in 12 months? So now it's filtering the file, which file Claude is trying to find which file it should look at and then locate the actual file. There must be a connecting issue, but it seems I lost the connection, so it got interrupted. Let's do this again. But you can see the whole process. It's querying the folder and filtering and read the file and trace the information and tell me to calculate the measure you need to do, blah, blah, blah. It got disconnected. Maybe there's something wrong with my internet today, but that's the idea. And that's the capacity with the file system. You can rename files, reorganize files, edit multiple files all at once. And actually, I can also, let me do this. It can also create a new text file for you. So I wanted to say, can you create a text file with all the including document. Sorry about the language. English is my second language, but I'm pretty sure Claude will get me. Yes. So now it's actually creating a text file with my requirements. And it said the file has been saved to this folder. Let's check. Oh, actually, I indeed created this file for me. So this is also one of the capacities that the MCP server can do. And yeah, I'll pop up to Brian for the next part.
All right, thanks, Zia. Madison, did you want to throw up another poll? I think we've got maybe one or two left.
I think we have a couple. Yeah, you were right where I was about to do that.
Okay.
All right, so this question, folks, is which AI models have you used? Your options are ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, or XAI, Mistral, DeepSeek, or other models, or you haven't used any AI models. Please feel free to put the ones that you have used in the chat.
All right, it's not surprising to see ChatGPT at the very top. I encourage you to test out the different models. All of them have their own personalities. All of them sort of perform a little bit different. And so there's other ones that are available. So we're just showing these. And so I'm going to end this poll and share the results. This isn't surprising. DeepSeek is one of my favorites. It's a great model. Mistral is a French company. Grok, I'll just mention that it's owned by Elon Musk. I'm not going to comment on that beyond that. Claude is one of my favorites. Gemini is one of my favorites. But they all have, okay, Letitia mentioned Perplexity. Yes, Perplexity is a great one too. So those are different thinking models. I'm going to just briefly continue on Zia's demonstration of the MCP. So the MCP is really complex to understand, but is becoming very popular. And this is going to be the future of it. So this is the future of how these are working. And the idea is that an MCP server, it's sort of like a USB connection to your language model. So you know your USB drive on your computer, you can plug data files in, you can plug other devices into it. That's sort of the concept of an MCP. And so you could connect it with other data and tools to do very useful things. So let me just give you an example of how I use this in my work. So I use LLMs to scrape data from the website, from the different websites. And what I did is the Society for Social Work Research has an annual conference, and they put all of the conference papers online onto a website, but it's not searchable. And it's really difficult because you got to go to every single different year. So I scraped 13 years worth of data and I put it into this massive database that I have online. And what it requires is you have to write computer code in order to analyze it. But what I've done is I've created a connection to that database with an MCP server, so I could use Claude to do it. And then I've taken it a step further and connected it to a voice system. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use natural language to query the database. And I'm gonna see if I get it to work on one shot through this, because there's a lot of things that are going on. So I'm going to show you just an example of this. Let me increase my screen. And so connect to my Supabase through the MCP and go to the SSWR table. I want you to create a line chart that shows the types of research studies over time, the methodology of them by year. Use a blind friendly color palette in the display and give it a professional title. Okay, so I just did voice to text, and so now it's going to do this. So it's reading in different files. So I should have said, I'm gonna give it one more prompt, and I'm going to say, use the Supabase data file. So I got it connected. Okay, so now it's going to Supabase. Base online. Okay, I'll try this again. Be sure to use the Supabase MCP server. Do not search locally. Oh. Well, I just did it. So fortunately, I already ran this so we can see what it did. So I connected to it. I've got too many things. So let me find this. Okay, so it actually built it out for me. So here's the line chart that it's created from that data file for me. I'll try it one more time to see if I can get this working again. But basically, I just said, this is what I asked it to do. I said, go into my Supabase and find it. And what it did is it wrote all of the query language for me. So I didn't write a single line of this code in order to create this interactive graphic. And so this is what it allowed me to do. So I'm wondering if why it's not doing it when I'm sharing my screen. Seems like nothing works when I try to do something live. But let me just try this one more time. Go into Supabase and find my SSWR project, create a line chart over time of the different methodologies using a color blind friendly line color palette. So that's what I would do in order to create it. So I'm not going to have you watch it generate all of the code for this, but that's just another example of how we use these different tools where we connect to different databases in order to perform those different types of searches and projects. All right, we are running low on time. Let me make sure that we are, okay, I will show OpenRouter very quickly, and then I think we will be out of time for doing anything else. So let me make sure that, okay. So I'm going to show OpenRouter. And OpenRouter is a service, is an aggregator service, which means that it gives you access to many different models. So you pay for credits. So I've got $9 a credit. So you could go online, you get credits, you buy them, and you pay based on the amount that you use them. And so so you can go to different chats, but what's interesting about this is it allows you to test out all of these different models, and a lot of them are free. And so that's another benefit for it. And if you connect with OpenRouter, then you can use these models in other situations too. So I'm going to add, so here are all the models that's available. So all of these are different models that you could do. So maybe you're saying, okay, you know about Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, but you don't want to sign up for all these services. Well, this is one place where you could say, I'm going to just drop $10 and I'm going to just try some of these different models. And some of these models are also free. So here is fee for the new reasoning model that was just released this past week. So I'm going to grab that. But then I can also say, well, I want to test some other ones too to see how well they work. So I'm also going to then test out this new Qwen model that's free. And then maybe I'm also going to test out OpenAI, the 4.1 mini model. And so then so what this does, I could compare the results across all three different models so I can see how each one performs. So maybe what I could do is I could just go here and I'm going to turn on the web search and I'm going to say, give me a detailed explanation of what, actually, no, I'll give a different prompt. It's called the EL5. Explain to me like I'm 5 prompt. So explain to me what Open Router is like I am 5 years old. So if you get a really complex, topic or something you're trying to figure out, use this one of just like explain like you're 5. And then when you understand at 5, then bump the number up to 7 or 10, and then keep going until you get to what you want. But this is going to run all three models at once. And then it's going to give me and then I can compare the results. So this is the fee 4. It's using an advanced reasoning model. So advanced reasoning is like a new technique. Here's the Qwen model. So that's still working. And then we also have the ChatGPT 4.1. So it's using a lot of different models. So let's just look at what the ChatGPT mini is. Okay, imagine you have lots of different toys and each toy could do something special. And so this explains to you what Open Router is. And here is another explanation from Qwen. And then here is another explanation from fee 4. So then you're in a situation like, which model should I use for my certain use case? So this gives you a nice way of testing out many, many different models. And so let's go back to my credits and see how much that cost me. It might have cost me just a fraction of a penny. So in the last 7 days, I've ran up a bill of it's been very cheap, so 25 cents. So you get to look at how much you're paying for the different costs of the different models. So so Open Router is a very, very useful tool. Okay, so Zia, I think we've got 15 minutes left. So if you've got time, 5 minutes to share your last set of tools, and then we will just have some Q&A.
Sounds good. Okay, for the last part, so here are a lot of fun tools that are AI powered, and you can find all different tools online. And these two are what I came across last night, so I just put them here. For the image FX, it can do something like creating a picture for you if you describe it just in natural language. For example, let me see, I have a small dog. She's a Cavapoo, so I'm going to see a hand-drawn style Cavapoo walking with her human in the movie. And see what I get. I'm not sure how this can be helpful for your day-to-day work or something, but maybe it's gonna be helpful if you
This is good for like creating like brochures, things.
yeah, if you have an event, you wanna put some nice pictures. Oh, this is so cute. It just looked like my dog. I'm gonna save it. Yeah. So this is a natural language to picture generation AI. And for the next one, and this might be helpful if you want to think about a slogan for your event or some fun activity with your clients. So there are different things it can do. It can make you smile, create something fun, or break a word into similar sound phrases and give you some unaccepted things or build a chain of related items. So I'm going to try this because I'm a nerdy and boring person. So I'm going to see if it can make me laugh. VIA it's a data engine and mirror. Is that correct? Anyways. This might work, the fine-tuned engine. Well, that's not bad. Anyways, it just give you an idea about what different AI power tools can do, and some are really fun to work with. So just explore on the internet. Yeah, this is my final part.
Okay, thanks, Zia. So I've got a few questions to wrap up. One is, let's talk about this issue about the ethical issues of the environmental impacts. So it's a use case issue, and it's not just general where AI is just environmentally problematic. And in terms of, there's many examples I can give where not using AI can actually have environmental consequences. So I'm going to bring up a paper that we just recently published in the Journal of Technology and Human Services. And that gives some information about the responsible use of AI. So let me drop this into the chat here. And this is going to cover, this should be freely accessible to everybody. And so I should drop this in a Notebook LM and talk about it. But the idea is that there's very small local models that are accessible to you, that are available through Open Router, and that we use within our organization, within the Data Lab. They're a fraction of the size of the large models. And as a matter of fact, what we do have is an unplanned event here is I'm also going to, Zia, can you drop in our poster that we just sent, that we're just about to present? If you could drop that into the chat, because the local models is a response to this. And so, so I would recommend taking a look at this poster, taking a look at that article, and then also we've got another article in Research on Social Work Practice, but it is on local LLMs. And these are small, they're a fraction of the size. So I just don't agree with that. I think it's problematic that if you're using ChatGPT to write emails and do things like that, it's going to have environmental consequences. But by itself, generative AI is just not, environmentally hazardous. It's how people are using it. So we won't have opportunities to go into further details on that, but you're certainly welcome to post more questions on it. But I definitely encourage you to read some of the resources that we've posted here. I believe Michael, Vanderwall, I'm sorry if I'm not getting your name correct. So there's a question about agentic AI, and we won't have time to go into detail about this, but agentic AI is where we're using these tools to carry out different research tasks for us. So it's making decisions for us. And so what I'm going to do, Michael, is I'm going to send you an invite, and this is to everybody who has a UMich account or a account. I'm going to send you a invite everybody to what's called Manus AI, which is one of many different tools for developing AI products without using code. And so there's different ways you could do this. But Manus is a tool. You could just, this link I'm giving you gives you free credits for it. And you could try it. So I use this to build some applications for this, but you could use the agentic building in just about anything that you want. But you'll have to watch some videos on it. It's just an advanced topic that I'm not going to be able to cover longer, but watch some videos on Manus before you spend the free AI credits that you receive, and because it's a really cool system for creating things. So give that a shot. Madison, did we have any poll questions left?
I think we may have had two,
Okay.
which I can launch the first one now. So this question asks, how much do you spend per month on AI tool subscriptions? Nothing. I only use free versions, $1 to $10 per month, $11 to $20 per month, $21 to $40 per month, $41 to $60, or more than $60 per month. Again, if you don't see the poll question, feel free to put your answer in the chat.
Yeah, so I see that less than 1 in 10 people are okay. We've got a few people that are spending some money on this. I will close the poll now. We'll talk about this just very briefly. Okay, so a lot of people are reluctant to purchase advanced or pro versions, and which I certainly respect. What I encourage you to do is start testing out some of these different tools and the functionality, and thinking about how valuable your time is. There's certain tasks that we're carrying out that that using AI and spending the money on AI saves us so much money and time in the work we do, and it could for your organization. So, but it's about building an awareness of the functionality and the use cases in your day-to-day work. The most where I would suggest focusing your effort if you're trying to look at what AI can do to help yourself, help the work you do, is look for repetitive, time-consuming tasks that you're carrying out. That is what computers are good for. They're not good for making judgments that require expert decisions, but things where there are yes and no answers or right and wrong answers that you could fact check and verify. These can save you a lot of time and money, but it's really, you have to have good prompting skills, and you have to have good use cases for applying these tools. So I encourage you to look at, just continue to explore the use cases for that. So we've got a few minutes left over. Joe, were there any questions that you wanted to raise at the very end for us? Or Madison?
I don't, but I will launch this final poll.
Okay.
So we can get that wrapped up. The final question is, does your organization pay for your access to AI tools? Yes, no, or I don't know. Again, if you don't see the poll, please put your answer in the chat.
Okay. As we're wrapping this up, so do any of the models save your prompts so that you go back to them later? They do have histories for the prompts, and then some systems You can create prompts, but what I would recommend is start is to create a document to save the prompts that are working for you. One nice feature, so that's something that I could share very quickly. So in all of the paid versions, it gives you an opportunity to create, these workflows or automations. And so um, in like Google Gemini, you could create what are called gems. And a gem is sort of like an automated prompt. And so you could create a new prompt where it says, this is the name. So you could say, I'm going to say Chinese language translator. And so let's say that I always want to translate documents into Chinese because I work with the Chinese colleagues regularly and it'd just be easier than I don't have to retype this prompt all the time. Well, I could just create a gem for that. And that would allow me to um, save the prompt and get all the formatting exactly how I want it to. So it's creating a workflow. So you can create what's called a gem in Gemini, and in ChatGPT, the pro version, you create what are called custom GPTs. You can create in Claude custom projects. So there's different functionality for that. But generally, that functionality is available only when you are on a premium version. The free version doesn't have that, and those are sort of like the services that they sell as part of that. So again, I would just strongly recommend that you build those prompting skills. And one way to do it too is if you're wondering how to, build your prompting skills, you just go into any one of these tools and just use a prompt. So we'll wrap up this this demonstration with this final demonstration. And I'm going to say, I am new to working with generative AI and large language models. Create for me a detailed guide on the essentials of prompting. So you want a guide. And so all of this stuff is available to you. You just have to learn how to prompt the models. Give detailed explanations for prompting. I am new, so make sure this is very detailed and all the jargon is clearly explained. And so I could just iterate on this example for a while, but it's going to give me a very nice guide. So anything that is unclear from this presentation, all the stuff that we've covered is available in the AI models and can help you. But starting with this prompting, I think is really, if you're very new to working with generative AI, focus on prompting and learn some of these different tools and how they work. So you can see that this is given lots and lots of information. So I'm not going to continue to let that go, but this is just an example. So now I can copy this, drop it into Google Docs, and now I've got so I can go over to Google Docs, create a new document, and here is my guide for prompting. So it's very easy to create these types of materials. Feel free to reach out to me or Zia if you've got additional questions. Our contact information is in the handouts that will be made available. Otherwise, we've arrived exactly at 4:30. So thank you very much, and good luck in your learning.
Well, thank you, Brian and Zia, for this really engaging presentation today. And thank you to everyone for attending this session of the Building Healthy, Strong Communities Conference. We hope to see you at another session tomorrow. The day will kick off at 10 a.m. Eastern with Making Space, Understanding Community Culture and Social Work Practice. In the next 1 to 2 weeks, those who have met the attendance requirements will receive an email from our continuing education office. Any questions regarding CE should be directed to the Continuing Education Office at ssw.conted@umich.edu. Thank you and have a wonderful day.